We have a great and a very important event that we're kicking off today. We're here to kick off the Click It or Ticket mobilization in Kansas. Have several different agencies that are with us here today. We are joined by the Kansas Department of Transportation, also local emergency medical services, the Wichita Police Department Traffic Unit, and Trooper Gardner of the Kansas Highway Patrol. All here to speak about the Click It or Ticket annual program, why it is important, why we are doing it, and just a little bit about when it's going to kick off and how long it runs. So
the 2019 Click It or Ticket program officially kicked off with a little bit of media earlier this week. We're going to run media all through next week, and then our enforcement partners are going to be kicking in next week too, and you're going to hear some more details on that as we go through there. The whole point is to get everybody, every trip, every time, to wear your seatbelt. We have a lot of cool safety features in a lot of our vehicles now, but still the number one thing that you can do is to wear your seatbelt. We still have about 15 or 16% of Kansans who do not wear their belts, and that's kind of who we're going to be targeting. Mainly when you look at pickup truck drivers, they're a huge, they have a lot lower belt use rate than everybody else. So once again, that's part of the target audience that we look at. KDOT is proud to sponsor this through the federal grant that we get from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. This is an annual event, but once again, we want to certainly highlight the efforts that are going on today. And we're very excited to have the partners that we have here today, because once again, it's not just KDOT. It takes everybody to make a difference.
No one intends to be involved in a motor vehicle crash, whether they're behind the wheel or a passenger. What they can be intentional in doing is wearing a seatbelt. Today I've been asked to share a personal experience about the use of seatbelts and how they can save lives. Those who are unbuckled in vehicles or ejected and thrown out of the vehicle in a collision, sometimes up to 200 or more feet. To describe what paramedics and EMTs encounter involving vehicle collisions is devastating and a memory that very few care to remember. What I would like to share is the feeling that paramedics and EMTs get to do is share the memory or share the information to the family member that their son, daughter, loved one, spouse made it, that the accident was really bad, but they were wearing a seatbelt and that they will be okay. That is the feeling that we carry each and every day with us. On the night of May 7th, 2012, a vehicle was driving through this intersection of Hillside and Lincoln, having a green light and the right-of-way. A separate vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed at the same intersection ran a red light and collided with the other vehicle. One vehicle was sent flying across the street, hitting a corner building, and it rolled, landing on its side. The two occupants inside suffered severe injuries and broken bones. They, however, survived. They were wearing seatbelts. This was their vehicle. They were Sedgwick County EMS paramedics. They were driving back to their station that night after running calls. Just regular traffic, just like a routine night, nothing out of the ordinary. Both have since recovered and returned to full duty. One is retired and working in nursing, and the other one is actually on duty tonight. Vehicle accidents can happen anytime, anywhere, to anyone, but seatbelts save lives, and they save the lives of our EMS family.
I've been an officer for about 21 years. Over half of that time I probably spent it in traffic, and that's given me the opportunity to work and assist on a lot of accidents, including fatality accidents. And I could tell you there's been many times where I've seen where the lack of use of a seatbelt has caused death or severe injury. Also, on the flip side, I've seen where using your seatbelt has saved your life and prevented injuries. Federal statistics state that 3 out of 4 people that are ejected from a vehicle die. And like the major was saying, if you're not wearing your seatbelt in the vehicle, not only you have the chance of being ejected out of the vehicle, but there's a good chance that you're gonna cause damage to other people that might be seated in the vehicle. And if the initial collision doesn't kill you or hurt you seriously, then certainly when you're ejected, your secondary impact will probably do you in. I have a few statistics I would like to share. This program, Click It or Ticket, works. Going back to 2014 in the city of Wichita, we issued 5,800 seatbelt tickets. In 2015, that went down to 4,008. 2016, it went down even further, 3,398. 2017, 3,102, and 2018, last year, we written 2,672. So from 2014 to 2018, we went down from 5,800 to about 2,600. When it comes to fatalities, in 2014, we have 5 individuals who were not seated, who were involved in a vehicle accident and were ejected and died. Those numbers are going down as well. We had in 2015, we had 7, 2016, 7, 2017, 5, last year 2. I'm sorry, I don't have the numbers for this year so far. But that's just proven that 9 out of 10 people are wearing their seatbelts. I could tell you now, compared to 5-10 years ago, it was very difficult to go out there and find, it was very easy, I'm sorry, to go out there and find somebody not wearing their seatbelt. In the last 5 to 10 years, it's been a harder ticket to find. We really don't want to write these tickets, but believe me, if we see you not wearing your seatbelt, you will receive a citation for it. So in closing, I'll just remind the public to please continue to wear your seatbelts. It does make a huge difference. Be a role model to your children, see you putting on your seatbelt so that when they're driving, that they also wear their seatbelts as well. Because we certainly want to see you get home safely to your loved ones.
I've been asked to talk to you about some of my experiences that I've had in my 20 years of wearing this uniform that I love, and in particular to reinforce the importance of always wearing a seatbelt during this mobilization that's going to be taking place here in Kansas and all across the United States. One of the most difficult things that I have to deal with when wearing this uniform is going to someone's house and providing a death notification. And my words alone cannot illustrate the difficult task that is, of standing on someone's front porch and getting ready to tell a mother or father that their son or daughter has been killed in a crash, or to tell a son or daughter that their parents have been killed in a crash. It is extremely difficult. It's one of the most difficult things that law enforcement has to do all across Kansas and farther. And that by wearing a seatbelt, that makes a significant difference in increasing your chances of surviving that unwanted event, not knowing when it could take place for you today, next week, next month, or next year, or at some point in your travels. So to always wear your seatbelt. In Kansas, they've instituted the primary seatbelt violation law here in our state in 2010. According to surveys run by NHTSA, we know that seatbelts save lives, and that by wearing a seatbelt, it basically makes a difference in you surviving them unwanted events. We know that here in Kansas, about 87% of those in our state are wearing their seatbelts, and that in itself seems to be a good number, but there's a lot of improvement that can be done there. We'd like to see everyone wear their seatbelt every trip, every time. It's estimated that about 13,000 people in the United States are saved because they wear their seatbelts in a vehicle as they're traveling down the roadways. That's a big number, and we'd like to grow that number and make it bigger yet. And that if you have your seatbelt on, it reduces your chance of being fatally injured by about 45% here in our state, what we've seen. So it's a big number. I can guarantee you that if you're involved in an unwanted situation, you're going to strongly desire that seatbelt. You're going to wish you had that seatbelt on. And you're not going to be able to hit pause, rewind, and play it again for that unwanted situation. You have to have it on prior to that event taking place. Just the same as me, every time I get geared up, I wear my bulletproof vest. I'm ready for that unwanted situation that I have no desire of being involved in. The same thing is true when we get in a vehicle. We get in a vehicle, we always buckle up so we can be in control of ourselves and what we do, not knowing what that foolish driver all around us will do and put us in a very bad situation. So being prepared for that event, not knowing when it's going to take place. I can tell you that when I get a call on the radio from dispatch, and they ask me to respond to a crash. I start running through my mind of how bad is it, how many people are involved, what's the age, how old, how young, and at some point I start questioning, is there seatbelts? Has the person been wearing seatbelts or not when I get to that crash scene? Will they have the seatbelt on or not? And in my 20 years, what I can tell you is that seatbelts make a significant difference. I've said this so many times already. They do. I see it when I'm at crash scenes. When I walk crash scenes, I know it's true because I'm there witnessing it and taking it in the many that I've had and gone to in my 20 plus years. I can tell you that there's troopers all across Kansas and really around the nation, and officers that can tell you stories of the differences seatbelts can make. Miraculous stories of individuals that, by looking at the vehicles alone, would probably indicate that no one survived these events. But with seatbelts, that makes a big difference, and there's individuals that can speak to the benefits of wearing that seatbelt and how it has made a difference for them, and that it kept them in the vehicle, and it reduced the death and injury that could have taken place if they had not worn that seatbelt. That's there to make a difference. That's been tested and studied and engineered to be there for you, but it still takes you to run across your body and make it click. So to do so, the Kansas Highway Patrol is dedicated, strongly dedicated to enforcing seatbelt and child restraint laws. At all times we are doing so, but we will be hyper-focused when it comes to this mobilization to really reinforce during this peak time of travel during Memorial Day weekend and past that of people every time they get in the vehicle wearing their seatbelt, and to make sure you're doing your part to be a good mentor to the little ones that are around you, that they're watching as you get in a vehicle and they're taking in what it is to be in a vehicle and what the proper things to do when you get in the vehicle. It starts with your actions of putting on a seatbelt every trip, every time, and not simply by your words, but by your actions of running it across your body and making it click. So, and again, as I walk away from here, please always, every time, every trip, put your seatbelt on. You will want it. It is a wonderful tool to have if you actually run it across your body and use that tool. So,
when we look at fatality crashes and look at fatalities that have been involved in those crashes, the number is getting better, but it's still about 50% of fatalities are not belted in the state of Kansas. I know that we can do a better job. We have certainly some of our partners here today, but we also have about another 180 agencies across the state, law enforcement agencies, that are going to be participating in this mobilization. So once again, we certainly thank the Wichita PD for letting us come in today. They're a great partner. The Highway Patrol is a great partner. But once again, we have lots of other agencies out there who are willing to do this life-saving effort. Enhanced enforcement will be present, but as mentioned earlier too, the focus is on saving lives and set that positive example. A couple other quick stats that we do from an observational survey that we have here in the state. When the driver is belted, about 95% of the other passengers are belted as well. Going back to what Ben just said about setting an example, if the driver is not belted, about 25% of the people in that vehicle are belted. So once again, that driver plays a huge role in not only getting to your destination safely, but to set that example of wearing their seatbelts. I mentioned earlier too, pickup trucks, they show at about 15% less than the SUVs, automobiles, and minivans. So about 15% less when it comes to buckling up. I think there's just something kind of crazy about when somebody gets behind the wheel of a pickup truck, they're not nearly as often belted. I don't fully understand that. I'm hoping someday that I will, but certainly our stats bear that out. Don't believe the myths around not wearing a seatbelt. Do your part, protect yourself and others. You may be the best driver on the road, driving defensively, using your turn signal when needed, not distracted, not speeding, and maintaining your lane. But you share the road with many other drivers that may not have driving as their number one priority. So once again, buckle up every trip, every time. The life you save just might be yours. I will highlight too the fact of the seatbelt citation for an adult is $30. Okay, I kind of view that to be similar to, for many of us, that's about a tank of gas, okay, that you're costing yourself and putting yourself in peril. So once again, it's just simple. Go out there and wear your belt. I want to take this opportunity to thank the media for providing this life-saving message, and to our law enforcement partners across the state for helping us spread this important safety reminder. On the drive to zero, you are in the driver's seat. Once again, thank you. If you guys have any additional questions or want to do one-on-one interviews, I think all of our speakers are available to take that on. And once again, appreciate the efforts here. Appreciate the Wichita PD letting us kind of commandeer the daily briefing out here. So they've always been wonderful partners of us, and we really do appreciate that opportunity. So once again, thank you for coming out.